Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Enneagram series. My name is Hayden Lee. I'm a Master Certified Executive Life and Leadership Coach, and I'm also an Enneagram facilitator and teacher. And today I'm so excited to be facilitating this panel, What a Healthy Four Looks Like. And this really is the first of this series. I haven't conducted a series of what a specific type looks like in a healthy way. And I think it's interesting to share. So yes, fours, you're all very unique. That this is the first time this is happening. You're unique and special and authentic that no one in the world has had a panel like this yet. But with that said, I think it's interesting to share, how did this idea even come to be? So I've had hundreds of Enneagram conversations, and there's only one type in particular that question keeps on coming up, like, what does a healthy version of my type look like? What does a healthy four look like? And it's come up many times with fours, so then it inspired me to have a discussion with fours. And the way that this panel is going to go today, I'm not going to be teaching all of you what a healthy four looks like. More, we're going to draw it out of our fours and hear from their voice how it looks like when they know that they may be handling specific themes in an unhealthy way and how they handle those themes in a more healthy way. So with that said, let's meet our awesome four panelists today to learn about what a healthy four looks like. So first, let me first start with Boonee Shripam. Tell us a little about yourself, where you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I am Boonee. I am in South LA, Orange County. I'm a coach, but I work mostly with gamers and neurodivergent people, creative minds. I use executive functioning coaching and typology as well, mostly Myers-Briggs to help people. But I work archetypally using references to your heroic journey, which is why working with gamers resonates very well with archetypes. And that's what I do.
Thanks, Boonee. All right, how about you, Martin?
Yeah, my name is Martin Danner. I'm in Austin, Texas. I am a senior pastor at a congregation in South Austin, but I'm also a marriage and family therapist and licensed professional counselor. I'm certified in integrative Enneagram. I use it in my counseling practice and also in some staff stuff periodically as they suffer me. And so, yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm ready to learn what a healthy four looks like.
Thanks, Martin. Monique.
Hi, everybody. My name is Monique DeBose. I am a singer, songwriter, playwright, and inspirer for women to choose more for themselves. So I'm all about passion and following it.
Love that. Thanks, Monique. Evelyn.
Good morning. I'm Evelyn O'Donnell, and I'm here in Northern California. And I am a business owner. I have two businesses. One is in recycling, and the other one is health and wellness. And I am transitioning out of the recycling business and studying right now nutrition. And my hope is to become a health coach as I progress with my knowledge and where I'm at right now in terms of becoming healthier myself. So that's me.
Cool. Thank you, Evelyn. All right, welcome, awesome fours. So let's dive into what a healthy four looks like. And I was thinking about, what is a good way to structure this? Like I said earlier, I definitely don't want to be straight up like teaching y'all what a healthy four looks like, because that's not my place. It's more about hearing about your own journey of what a healthy four looks like for you. I do know, some aspects of what can happen when the four dives into the unhealthy parts of their type. The first top theme that comes up often is envy, right? So I want to remind everyone, Enneagram is about motivation, not behavior, right? So the core motivation of four is the need to be unique and authentic, right? So it's a motivational need. It's a motivational driver within them. And then I think oftentimes fours get stuck in envy, or we call it a fixation. Envy of comparing themselves to others, or envy that others have something they don't. And that can lead to unhealthy ways of thinking and feeling and behaving. So who wants to start, like, to share a little bit about what that looks like when you get stuck in the unhealthy parts of that? How do you move on to a more healthy relationship or a healthy version of when you feel envy striking?
I'm happy to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting being on this panel, Hayden, because part of me is like, oh, I can see that I have moved more to a healthy experience of this for like the motivation. I love that you made that distinction. So what I've been noticing is that I've just been making more space for all of myself, all the parts of myself. And that has really allowed me to live more in a space of equanimity. So I wrote a song called Comparing Myself. Like literally, I'm your textbook for, I guess, and if there is such a thing. But since writing that, now I'm in a space of like, the song has been flipped on its head and it's called Incomparable. So I'm really looking, it's still in the for, to be special, but it's looking at the pieces of all the things that make me up are important and necessary. So it's embracing the stuff that I've been wanting to like push away and be like, that's not me. I can't be me. So that's what I'll say for now.
So what I'm saying is what's helped you is embracing all of you, right? Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you, Monique.
Mm-hmm.
Who else would like to share how do you handle envy in a healthy way?
I'll say my process has been similar. So my huge envy thing used to be being childless and really wanting to have children. I used that as my identity for my entire adulthood. I remember dreaming about wanting to have children, and that was my only goal in life. If only I could have children, I would feel whole. I would be worthy of something, right? And I had to realize that, there's a certain age. I'm a, what is it called? If I have children, I'm going to be have a geriatric pregnancy, right? I look freaking young, but anyways, that word just makes me laugh now, but I had to face my shadow. That's what we're good at doing. We do it all the damn time anyways. And so when I have kept on kind of skirting it along, like it's not a big deal. I want it. I still want it. I convinced myself that was the only thing that made me feel special. If I had that, the not having everything, this was the thing that was going to make me feel whole. And I realized, I had to be by myself for a while, get rid of all stimulation, all reference points for what I thought I was comparing myself to all the time, limit that, and just be alone by myself and face all the things that I didn't want to. The messages, installations of identity, the fragmentations of how I saw myself, and really did that integration of all these parts of me are worthy, all these parts of me define me, whether I think this perception of myself is positive or not. It defines me as a loved whole person, and it's as beautiful as this balanced part of what I thought would be pristine, clean, beautiful, pretty, and when you integrate and love it as equally as it is, you come out of it really like the phoenix rising. You had to lose yourself so much to come out of it. And I think a lot of us fours, we embrace that dying, that metaphorical death so much that it's going to happen sooner or later. So when we share this story, I know a lot of us have been going through it, or we've died multiple times already, and we're probably doing it again soon. Like, I'm going to do it again soon.
Thank you for sharing. So I was very engrossed in what you said, because you say it in such a beautiful, creative way. So if you were to sum up, so I love what you said though about embracing all parts of you, going into the dark side, having parts of you die, come up as a phoenix. So what would encapsulate like what you're saying in like a sentence? So when you feel the envy happening of comparing yourself because, you know, many of your friends your age have kids, right? You know, you're comparing, and the woman is supposed to have kids by now or whatever that envy. So when you feel that, or someone else feels that, or fellow listeners watching right now, what's like a concise piece of advice to help them handle the envy? How would you say that in a sentence or two?
I think about archetypes in your inner child, your inner critic, all the different parts of you. Like you do have to hold them close to your heart. Like this part is so wounded. I'm going to love you as you are. You're pained right now. Come here. Like I will cradle you. I will hold you. I will love you because you are loved and worthy. Like that's just the cycle that we must do over and over again because our lens of the world is we're wounded, we're broken. So until we love ourselves constantly, like that ritual that we can do to ourselves can do so much. So I think that's the one tangible thing I can offer for us to do, even though it's a consistent thing to do. Like we just have to keep on building on top of that, like that love for your inner part that needs healing.
No, I love that. And how that lands with me is with force having envy, it is often about feeling like they're missing something, or they're missing something, and it could be shameful or there's something wrong with them. What I'm hearing from you is to remember, you know, I'm worthy of love just as I am. I'm worthy of love now in all of my wholeness. And I love that because envy sparks longing for something, right? And the opposite of longing for something is being content that everything as is perfect the way it is. I am whole and perfect now in my imperfection, rather than needing to fill the imperfection with something. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
Can I put one piece in really quickly?
Of course, yeah.
To me, it's so beautiful how you shared that. It's Booney. Is that what we said? Yeah, that's true. Because to me, I'm like, that is the ultimate mother. That is the ultimate mother, to be that space to come, welcome, I will nurture you, I will hold you. So I just thought that was so poetic.
I got a little excited when you said that because I never made that connection. So thank you.
That is an awesome connection, Monique, that it's possible to be so maternal without having biological children. You don't need to have biological children to be maternal in a mother. Yeah, that is a really cool connection. What about you, Martin? Coming up.
Yeah, I was just listening to them, and I was thinking, I experience envy. Y'all go to the space of, you know, what's wrong with me, and I guess I do that, but I tend to when I think about people or things I'm envious of, I have like fantasies of keying their car and bringing them down to my level so that I can be better than them. So that's unhealthy. But when I get in that space where I feel like I'm missing something, or usually I get irritated. I'm irritated that the other person so easily can do things or achieve things that I wish I could. And then I get irritated with myself because not only do I think I should be able to do that, but then I'm aware that I'm doing that, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I thinking this way? It's not a big deal. And so usually, you know, the space I go into, there's two things I do. One is I just embrace it. Like I just go ahead and accept that I feel that way, and it tends to move along faster. I just don't resist it. I'm like, of course I'm envious of them. They're amazing. And I can celebrate that. Deep breath and move on. You know, maybe I'll cry in the shower, maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. But I can just kind of deal with it and move on. I'm a big, you know, I'm kind of a mantra person. Like I just have phrases I say in my head a lot. I have one on my desk. It's from Philippians 4 verse 11. I've learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. And so I just tell myself, be content, be content, be content. And then I say, I'm okay, you're okay a lot of times. And last time I said that to a horse, the horse bit me. That's a long story. But so I tend to make fun of myself to help sort of take the edge off and just realize that, you know, at times I am ridiculous, and that's actually okay. And I will move on and things will be good. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That, well, all the Enneagram types have some sort of like issue, right? They all do. And but today, 4's issue with envy, it's not about ignoring the envy or neglecting it, but it's acknowledging it, being aware of it, and accepting it. And it's going to be with you all your life, folks. They will. It's going to come up all of your life, but it's how you choose to handle it. And it very much will be accepting that it's there, rather than judging yourself harshly that you have envy, and then envious that other people don't have envy, right? And then it becomes just a complete mind F where you're just like, oh my God, I have envy. And why doesn't, well, they don't have envy. I'm envious that they don't have envy. Yeah. What about you, Evelyn? What's coming up for you with your relationship with envy? And you got to unmute yourself. I heard some background noise, so I muted you for a sec. So go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, let me help you there. There you go.
So right now I'm feeling envious because you have said all of you have said everything that I'm feeling. So going last, it's like all of what was said was so much of me. And I at 70, I'm feeling like, come on, I've felt this for my entire life. I didn't know. I always thought it was such a weakness. I always thought it was such a dark side of me. I hid it. I never talked about it. It was there. And now that I know it's there, it's part of me. It's been part of me my entire life. And I value that right now. I value it. I know that it's there. And I know that I have the tools to stop it in its tracks. And every day as I write in my journal, I'm grateful for my life and all that I have and all that I am and all that I am going to be. So I've made it very simple as I get older, because I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling some of the pain that was brought about by envy. So yeah, I feel like it's still there and it's still going to be there, but come on, I've spent so much time trying not to be that person, and I am now just looking forward to being able to integrate it in the rest of my life. So very simple right now how I've been able to accept it and move on, and just it's there. It's me, and I love myself and I value myself, and I'm worthy.
I love what you're saying. I'm getting chills, Evelyn. Especially what you said with you value the envy, because it is a part of you. It's a part of all of you. Instead of seeing the envy as something that needs to be fixed or to get rid of, or to somehow hope one day you're going to get rid of it, to value it and to see the gifts in it, actually. Yeah, that's great.
Can I share something else?
Of course.
Evelyn, I love that you started with, you guys all said what I wanted to say. Because as a person who started, I was like, oh, I should have gone second, because after I heard you, then I thought this. And so that's an interesting piece. But I think of Tiffany Haddish, and I'm wondering what she is. I always have this like secret desire to be a comedian. I'm like, oh God, if I were braver, I would say all the things that happen inside this head. And what I'm hearing in this 4 conversation, it's like, yeah, those really are our superpowers. Like those things we've like wanted to hide and felt so afraid of, and at the effect of, I'm just like, oh, maybe I can still be a comedian, just say all the crazy shit that is in my head. So, yeah.
Oh, can I say something too?
Of course.
That just made me think of some of the inspirations in my life have been because I was envious. So it kind of is an inspiration if you look at it that way. Said all this time I thought it was a one-upsmanship, but it was more of I had that envy, and it kind of inspired me to do things that I may not have done before. And one of those examples is when my daughter was in the theater for many years. Although I knew how to sew, I had this envy of becoming a costume designer and a creative and stuff. And I didn't know how to do it, but just because out of envy, I took myself to a level where I was able to become a very decent costume designer without, the training and experience just because I was envious of that. So that just triggered my thinking about, thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that. I was like, sometimes
Yeah.
it motivates me to do things that I wouldn't, or try harder, for sure.
I think that's a great path from envy to inspiration, from envy to be inspired, which is a great way to turn envy into a healthy way. Is like you're all saying, you're envious of these people doing amazing things that you want to do. And then you see it though as, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Right? Which is a good segue actually to the second point I wanted to make, is sometimes fours can get stuck in the unhealthy focusing on what's missing in their life, or focusing on what's wrong, what's missing, what I don't have. So I'll see all of you nodding. So when you all get stuck in that, what is a healthy way to turn that on its head, or a healthy way to manage when you find yourself focusing on everything that's wrong and missing in your life? How can we handle that in a productive or a healthy way?
I guess I can go first since I went last. Wow, that's another big thing with me, is I always look at the glass being half empty. So I don't like it. I don't like when I feel that way. And again, as I get older and at my age, I realize that I can't continue thinking that way, although I will still have that as a thought, but able to act on it, because I want to be able to have a healthier mindset, as I go forward in age. So how I handle it is, right now, as Hayden knows, I've been on this program to lose weight, and ironically, that's kind of helped me, because I've had to look at the end result. It's not about losing weight and comparing myself to other people, and why I didn't lose more weight, why I couldn't be, more disciplined, or whatever the thoughts come in my mind about what I don't have, and just really learn to trust the process and trust myself as I go forward, and what my goals are and what I want to achieve, and the fact that I'm losing weight, it's not about losing the weight so much as it's gaining a healthier life. So I have to look at it in that way. I have to flip it over and always constantly be mindful of what my goals are, and look at it from that perspective. And again, writing in my journal and just my spirituality, and being able to see all the wonderful things that I do have in my life, and all the wonderful things that I've done in my life, and just continue with that mindset. But it's every day. It's not like a random thing. I have to really consciously work at that daily to become a better version of myself. So that's how I deal with it, or how I'm dealing with it now, which for the previous 70 years, I did not deal with it that way. I kind of let it deal with me. And now I feel like I'm more disciplined about that, and more plan of action in terms of when my emotions, I try not to let my thinking or my emotions rule my thinking. I try to be better prepared every day.
I love that. Making an intention every day to reflect on, look how amazing my life is. Look at everything I'm grateful for. Look at everything that I can do. Right. And I do want to acknowledge you, Evelyn, 70 years young, right? On this amazing health program. Evelyn's been down 13 pounds so far, and just really focusing on how awesome you really are. And I mean that, Evelyn, like that's so inspiring to be 70 years young and still working on the best version of yourself. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All I was going to say is, like, one of the things I experience as a four, I think all fours experience this, is there's a part of me that feels like something's off about me, or that no one quite fully understands me or totally gets the space that I'm in, or that I don't quite belong. And when I'm in that feeling space and thinking space, what I've learned is, like, I don't know, because there's also desire to be unique. And so I've made that the unique thing about me. Like, of course I don't feel like I belong because I'm special, and I feel out of place. And I don't know, a part of me, I'm not saying I'm in this space all the time, but what I've noticed is if I'm in that space, if I'm not going to belong, or I don't feel like I belong, but that's what makes me special and unique in an odd way, and I can't quite explain it, it actually allows me to leave space open for other people, which is what I think makes fours special, because they can connect with others in different ways. And I think it's just because when we don't feel, because we're searching. And so when others are in front of us, it's easy to search with them and kind of get into that space with them. And I don't know, I don't feel alone in that way. I feel like I can join other people. And I don't know if that makes sense. It's a bit abstract, but I'm unique, so deal with it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Booney's over here cheering. What's coming up for you?
Yes. So I wanted to put in the component of bringing other people in. So I'll share first how it affects me. I double withdraw. I hermit. I disappear. And when I think about that, I was actually thinking about my YouTube channel. I have compared myself to so many of the people who started at the same time as me. I felt sorry for myself. I felt like, what am I doing wrong? I must be not worthy of getting viewers and followers. Like, everyone else is doing it perfectly. What's wrong with me? And so I would disappear. So I double sabotage myself. First, I question myself, and then I disappear and not make consistent content. And so of course, no one's going to follow me because I'm not out there. And so I've gotten to this place where, okay, when I withdraw, I face my shadow. When I withdraw, I have to check myself. What's the reality here? What am I doing to consistently make this true, where I'm feeling sorry for myself and thinking of all the things that are missing, quote unquote, missing. So when I got to the lowest point of having to, that metaphorical death, then I could discard all the lies that I've been telling myself to get to the point where, okay, what is the truth now? What am I left with? I'm left with what I'm good at. I'm left with the praise that other people have actually told me, and I have to actually learn how to internalize it as truth. Like, they're not lying to me. I could have good traits too. I'm allowed to feel good about myself. And then question about community. After isolating hermit, when I'm coming out into the society, like, oh, look, there's light outside. Who are the people who have always been with me? Who are the people who have been constantly telling me that I can do this work and that I actually have a talent in this area, that they believe in me? I had to, integrate that. There's people out there who support me. There's community out there. I'm not that weird. I mean, when I say stuff, people resonate. So yeah, that means there's something there. So it really is about community, and then mirroring for yourself the people that believe in you too. So you fill in the gaps back and forth, kind of like this chemistry and this dance that, I feel empty, but there's people who have always been filling me. I have to allow them to fill me too.
Yeah. Monique?
I am so in love with this panel. I'm just like, oh, I just need to talk to you guys every day for 10 minutes and then I can have a great day. So I just have loved listening to each one of you. And when you shared the question, I wrote down like 5 things, but now I've completely forgotten what the question was. So what was the question?
Oh, the question was, when you find yourself focusing and dwelling on what's missing, how can you handle that in a healthy way?
Great. So lots of things popped up, which really I've been implementing, which made me feel so good. I'm like, you are healthy right now. Okay. But bringing humor in, like just being like, oh my God, that is so me. I like just laughing at myself because some of the shit, I'm just like, it is embarrassing, but it's funny. Yeah. And acknowledging, like, so the humor is part of the acknowledgement.
Dark humor is the best, by the way, I think.
What'd you say?
Dark humor is the best way to go for this, I think. Yes.
Yeah. and then I wrote down literally recount what is, as opposed to like what I want to say is about or what I felt about it. It's like, okay, what literally happened? And so that's some form of like gratitude practice. That's kind of like, just like, oh, this thing happened. And so that, yeah, that the recounting happens in my gratitude practice. And then changing my state. Like I heard Tony Robbins and change our state, like all that crap. But it's just like, I have, like, if I dance or move my body, or if I literally just sound, I'll just sound out every ounce of air in my lungs that I can get out, until like that helps me. And then I think just, Evelyn, I'm so grateful to have you on here with your 70 years young, because I've noticed in my 40 years, I'm just like, oh yeah, having perspective over a lived life, like collecting enough data points, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing the cycle. I'm seeing what is. So I know, like, when I hit this low point again, I know I'm not going to stay in there. And so those are some of the pieces that help me. And then community, what I started off with. Community feels really important.
Yeah. Thanks, Monique. I mean, my next point, everything that we're all sharing, I think touches upon the next topic. It's when fours get overwhelmed with emotion and feeling, right? And I think a lot of us are already touching upon that a little bit, and I would love to expand on it, though, is when we find ourselves getting overwhelmed with emotion or taking things personally, how can we look at things in a more objective way? Right? Because I'm already hearing from some of you too, like looking at taking a step back from emotions and looking at data. Look, you know, like Booney was saying, actually maybe starting to believe the positive things people say about you. Maybe, you know, the consistent people in your life who's been championing you for the last 20 years, maybe they're not just saying it because they feel sorry for you. Maybe there is some truth. So tell us a little bit about, yeah, like when you find yourself overwhelmed with emotion, pity party sometimes is what I say to my four friends, maybe having a little pity party, and you're just really overwhelmed with feeling. And I think Monique touched upon this too. Remember, we have three centers in our bodies, right? There's the heart, there's the head, and then there's our body, right? So sometimes when fours get stuck in the heart, which is the feeling center, the head may be objectivity, and the body, maybe get into your body, move, jump up and down, scream, you know. So I guess those are some practices and strategies definitely to get out of your heart. You know, a lot of other, by the way, the other 8 types are we usually need to get into their heart. Sometimes the fours need to get out of their heart, right? And get into their head or into their body. No, Buddha's like, no. So tell us a little bit about what happens for you. How do you manage in a healthy way when you're just overwhelmed with emotion, like overcome with these feelings? What do you do?
This one's easier for me to answer because I have an incredibly strong 5 wing, and I lean into that side of me so much. I just say, hey, brain, like, take the wheel. I mean, I really do. It's just like, I think I sort of acknowledge sometimes the ridiculousness of maybe what I'm feeling. Or I don't know if it's ridiculous. It's just, I appreciate that it's strong. And then I try to pull in facts. I say things, I'm a mantra, like I said, I'm a mantra person. I say things like, facts are our friends. Let's just look at the facts and pay attention to that and ignore all the other voices in the head because they may not be real. So I do lean very heavily into my 5. And then, you know, I'm considered a sunny 4, and I always dwell on that because it makes me laugh. And I think the other way I get out of that for myself is again, I go back to that humor side, and I just try to make fun of it. And because it's like, this is why I make fun of coaches. No offense to all of you in the room, but y'all are the masters at saying the cheesy things that are supposed to lift you up. And then I just make fun of it because it's all kind of stupid in a good way. I don't know if that's the appropriate word, but it's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, of course, I'll turn my frown upside down and reframe it. And I'm in it to win it. Let's go. And I'll just overplay that in my head because it's so ridiculous, and it just pulls me out of it. So
I love that. I love Martin's cynicism. but I love that when you take a step back, it is kind of ridiculous, right?
Right.
It's like, in it to win it, be the master of your life, step into your power, and you're going to pay me thousands of dollars for me to tell you this.
Right.
Yeah, there's
Exactly. Yep.
Who's next? Who wants to, how do you handle your overwhelm of emotions? So Evelyn, let me unmute. There we go.
So it's, I never really, as I was younger, totally understood that emotion or the emotional side or how I was feeling. And now it's almost like a flow chart. I have the overwhelming feelings that that come, and sometimes they're for small little petty things, but they're still so big. And what happens in the next little box is the doubt. I start feeling doubt. I doubt myself and my existence and my worthiness, and just all these negative feelings that they quickly become. Then the next stage would be I become really hard on myself. That's what starts, and I just start kicking myself for, why did I say that, or why did I do that, or geez, now that person doesn't like me, or just all these really silly things that are not even, just talking about right now, it sounds so silly, but those are the things I start ruminating, and it's very damaging. So then the next stage is I retreat and I put myself in a place where I'm alone. I need to be alone, and I need to repair. I need to think. And when I was younger, it was more intense. But again, now I'm simplifying things, and I don't allow it to happen as it'll go, but the process is a lot faster, and I can work myself out of it. Only because I have such a strong spiritual belief right now, and I can see how silly it was to spend so many productive years allowing that to happen. And now I see that I have less in front of me, and that every time I get into that place, I've wasted time that I could be using to be a better, wife or a parent or a manager, owner of a company. So all these positive things that I'm saying, come on, you've wasted so much time. Let's just go through the process, get out on the other side, have a smile, and carry on. So in a really simple form, that's what I'm doing right now. That's not to say that I don't still have those feelings, and that I do want to continue or lean towards doubting myself and lean towards being hard on myself, but they're quicker now. And that's so liberating, and such freedom to have, to know that that's what I do, and that to stop it sooner rather than later, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So there it
Once
is.
again, I love it. We're emphasizing once again, it's not about the feelings of envy or shame don't exist. It's about acknowledging and recovering from it faster. And I think that's really a way, I think in a nutshell, kind of, it's like that is a healthy four. It's to acknowledge and embrace everything that the feelings that happen, but then recover quicker, right?
But one more thing, but there is the part that I really enjoy still, it is being alone. And I really like that reflection time, and I really like that getting to know myself better, and appreciating all of that. So that quietness is really helpful right now. Still, I still like being there, because it's comfortable because I've done it so long, but it's also very healing. So I look forward to that time where I can just go in and be by myself and do whatever I want to do and feel whatever I want to feel, and just be myself, and honor that.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the great gifts of the four, actually, is to that is a form of self-care, is to take time for yourself. And that's a lot of times when fours are the most creative, right? When they're taking time to be by themselves and feel what they need to feel and just be who they need to be. But to Booney's point earlier, though, it's like, but then to force to also be aware of the line between taking time for yourself
Yeah.
and being a hermit and shutting
Yeah.
yourself off from the world, because then that's when it becomes an unhealthy expression, right? Nice.
I wanted to jump in with yeah, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I feel like one of the things that I don't do enough of, but has served me when I do it, is when I'm in the feeling, literally give myself a time limit on my like phone and just be like, all right, you got 5 minutes to bitch, like just go, like say the worst things, just do it all, like, because then I feel like it's like pulling it all out, which is really important. And then something else, I mean, I actually create pieces in the world. So I create music from it. I wrote a show about like some of my feelings. And so I'm launching a podcast because these things are important. So like all of this is how I use it when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I use the work. So that's what I've got.
Yeah, and that's a great also example of the feeling of being in the heart, and then expressing it out into the world, like turning pain into action or turning pain into expression, right? Which is really important.
Sorry, one other piece that I have to remember, because that's always challenging as well, because you're so vulnerable. You feel like this is like my heart I'm putting out into the world. And what I've realized over time as well is that, like, yes, some people just aren't going to get it, or that's not how they roll. That's not where they're coming from. But I do feel like a lot of people are appreciative and are, well, at least she said it. I'm not brave enough to say it, but she said it.
Me too.
And I've understood that that is actually a superpower as well. So can I stand in that space of being the one? I thought I was out here by myself because I was wrong and bad and too much. But I'm like, oh, I'm out here because I'm a trailblazer. So having that reframe.
And that reminds me, yeah, fours, one of their great gifts is emotional courage, right? To the courage to talk about and speak all emotions, including shame and pain and suffering, which is my last theme. My last point is shame, actually, shame and feelings of unworthiness, right? Because a force can definitely spiral into that unhealthy side of when you experience shame, unworthiness, and undeserving. And once again, it's not to ignore that it's there, because it's a part of the four's life journey. Feelings of shame, unworthiness, and undeservingness, it will happen. However, when it does happen, what are some healthy ways to live through that? Yeah.
So I guess I'll just mirror community again. Since we tend to withdraw so much because we feel wounded, not deserving of being seen so much, I think the challenge for us to grow is to either, I literally look at myself in the mirror and will tell myself that I'm worthy, I'm loved. The affirmations do really help us. I think they help us because that self-talk or the automatic assumptions of things, it's so negative. We tend to go there so quickly. We do have to change how we talk to ourselves, and we're not really attuned with our body. So like looking at myself is something that it's a lifelong process to really be familiar and aware of your body. When I do feel the shame, I accept it, like we tend to do. And yet I'll move it to the side, like, okay, I feel shame, I feel pain. There's nothing I can do about it right now. I'm going to nurture my body because I'm so disconnected from it. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to exercise, go for a walk, or I'm going to listen to something so painful that it resonates with my heart that I need to like bawl, and maybe listen to the same song on repeat or write it out in a lyric, draw, really be dramatic, allow myself to be dramatic and feel the pain. Because in the past, so the mirroring, right? On top of just being by yourself and mirroring yourself is, I know we may have tended to, when we're unhealthy, seek validation from other people. Like mirror my pain, tell me that I'm allowed to feel this pain, tell me, please, allow me to do this. And most people don't get it. So we end up re-wounding ourselves. And so I've had to check myself and say, who am I going to pull close into my inner circle who actually values my pain, my vulnerability, who thinks it's a strength? I'm not gonna cut myself reaching out to people. So it's like challenging yourself to find the right people to mirror you when you're feeling wounded as well. So that's what I've been doing. But cultivating also, I don't need them to feel whole and okay with my shame. It's me. It's all me.
What you're saying, it made me think of like one of the things I struggle with shame wise is like sharer's remorse. Like I will express my sadness or whatever quirky weirdness I have, and then I'll say it and I'll be like, oh shit, what did I just do? Because now they're going to see me that way, and that's not really how I want to be seen, but that's how I feel right now. And and so that's a hard thing to invite other people into that emotional space, because it is real, but you also, it's not totally you or totally me. And so, yeah, I resonate with the music too. I use music to, I have a sad playlist and a happy playlist on my phone. And I can like invoke my moods how I need to at times. I can play it off. But yeah, that shame piece is really hard. I think I don't know that I have a good solution for that to share with this panel, because I think it's similar to envy in a way that it's just kind of hangs around and it sneaks up at times. And again, I just play the game of, is this real shame? Is this like something I should be ashamed of? Or is this something that I'm trying to own that I really shouldn't? And sometimes it's hard to discern that, because I mean, I am a jerk sometimes and I should feel bad sometimes, but other times I'm like, why am I feeling bad about this? It's okay for me to say, this is how it is, and I can move on and know that it's okay. But it takes a few steps to get there.
I feel like that's an amazing piece of advice to the panel. So I just want to acknowledge and name that. And then I have a teacher who once said to me, if people aren't coming up to you and being like, you are a bitch, then you're not doing you enough. And I was like, I've just sat with that. Yeah, I know that's what happened inside me, Martin. I was like, I can't. But I think the invitation in there for me has been, keep showing up, like keep putting yourself out there. And behind that, I'm understanding like exactly who you are. It's obvious, but it's hard. It's who you're meant to be. So like, be it. So.
Well, I think in terms of shame, a cool neuroscience trick I learned is called name it to tame it. Is actually when you feel whatever you're feeling, talk about it, name it, say it. And that in itself actually helps you move through it. Right. And I think what I'm also hearing is there's no need to fix it. There's no need to solve it, but it's to acknowledge it. And like, I feel shame right now. I feel pain right now. And then let that be. And then whatever needs to happen, happens, rather than I feel, I'm making a little Enneagram joke. Like imagine like a 4 in pain trying to spill his or her guts to like an unhealthy 7, who's just like, oh, don't worry about it. Just like forget about it. So let's go have fun. Like that would be, so imagine like how that would be like the worst thing, a 4 could do is go to, like Bunu was saying, really know who can handle actually a 4's way of feeling. Because not everyone can, honestly, right? Because that's the one where 4s have that emotional courage, where 4s are able to feel and go there, and other people might not be able to, and that's okay too, right? It's neither right or wrong, good or bad. Okay. So, what about you, Evelyn? Any thoughts about shame? Oh, let me unmute. Sorry, I was muting you because there was background noise, so you have to unmute again.
I was thinking about what Martin said, is it real shame or not real shame, and being able to figure out what it is, and that's kind of a dilemma sometimes for me as well. And I think about that a lot when I'm feeling that way. But again, I go back into when I feel that way, I retreat. And as I get older, most recently, I try to get the answers from inside myself rather than going out and trying to get approval or trying to, buy something or do something to make myself better. I try to just think about it internally and so on. But, very simple. I do the same things. I listen to music, I read, now I'm listening to inspirational podcasts. So all of these things are just really kind of helping me get through that. And the other things most recently. So in a very simple, way. So it's there.
Yeah,
And
it's there, and
yeah,
the shame will always show up at some point, right? And like I said, it's how we choose to move through it and be through it, and be in it, right? Wow. Well, thank you, everyone. This was so great to just hear from all of you, the
yeah.
fours, what being a healthy four looks like. So I want to invite everyone now. I'm just going to go around, and I would love to hear your biggest takeaway or your biggest insight from our time together today. And who wants to start?
I guess I'll go. I think for me, the biggest takeaway is how grounded our energy is, even though we have this stereotype and misperception of us being so broody and self-absorbed. I just want to highlight that that's the energy that I feel right now. And I love it that we can inspire more of our archetype to feel that this is possible. The work isn't essential, but they can also get there too. So it's nice to have that reference point.
Thank you.
I want to share that community is vital to really being able to see yourself and have more compassion for yourself. So just spending this time together, or for viewers just watching this, I feel like there's a real sense of community.
Has anyone been in a room full of fours before like this?
That's what I was getting ready to say. I was like, that's my big, I don't know any other fours that I am aware of. Most of the people that I type are not fours. And so that triggers the whole, man, I feel so alone and unique, that sort of thing. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? This is really cool. I appreciate hearing. My takeaway is like, obviously I know this academically, but listening to y'all, yeah, I'm not alone. Like there's other people that vibe with me in this way. And I think that's cool. And I like how everyone shows up, even though we're all fours. I love how unique everyone in this room is and how they show up as a four.
Yes. Thanks, Martin. Evelyn, what's your biggest insight or takeaway?
What a gift. What a gift to be able to talk freely and to have people that understand how we're thinking and being. So wonderful to have at my age to finally be able to not solve the problem, but understand, the puzzle, rather, not the problem. Understand this puzzle that's always been in my head. And
Oops, your picture went away for a second. Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
there it is. Sorry. To be able to put the pieces together, sort of, but understand, just to have others that think and feel the way I do, finally feeling like I'm understood. And that's such a great feeling. Thank you, everybody.
Well said, Evelyn. Well, thank you, awesome fours, and thank you, viewers, for watching. If you've enjoyed this, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, right? Hayden Lee Coaching. And of course, you can find out more about my work on the Enneagram at my website, haydenlee.com. That's HAYDENLEE.com. And thank you again, awesome fours. When I think of fours, I really think about how fours see the beauty in the world. And that's what fours mean to me, is that fours are able to see the beauty in everything, the beauty and the joy of life, but also the beauty and the pain and suffering in life, because there really is beauty and pain too. There's beauty and suffering too, because it's part of the human experience. And that's when I think of fours, I think of fours truly have the courage to fully be human. So as a 3, I want to thank you fours to inspire me to not just focus on doing and achieving, but really focusing on feeling and being too. So thank you fours. And thank you viewers, and we'll see you next time. Thanks everyone.
Bye.